Hi guys, welcome back. Just checking to make sure that lights and everything are working nicely. I turned off my backlight because I was having this issue with the focus, and I think it was because it was trying to focus my photos and the Funkos back there. So let me know if the image is fine. Hopefully it is. So good day, good morning, good night, anyone watching this today on Monday. There's a special announcement today about a couple of things, so I just want to get that out of the way, and then we'll jump onto the main topic, which is going to be Nanite. I've talked about Nanite before, but I just want to go over a couple of very important processes that I found work really well with this new technology, why they will work, and why they might need to be modified later on. A little bit of my opinion as well. So first announcement, this weekend we have our portfolio review. So for those of you that are unaware, every month we do a portfolio review at the middle of the month. You can submit your work down here in the description. There's going to be a Google Drive link. Just drop a folder, drop a file with your name on it and the link to your work. Or you can even drop like a C tool or like a Maya file, a Blender file, something that you're working on and you might need some help. Like that's the best way you can get like a little bit of particular attention to your work. So make sure to check that down here. I'll probably be recording this earlier this week, so at about Thursday, because we have a wedding this weekend, and it's gonna be we're gonna have to go out of town for a little while. So yeah, just make sure to submit your stuff down here, and I'll be happy to see it later in the week. The second announcement, I am happy to announce that I'm gonna be showing you what the main thing or what the next course is going to be announced. This is you can consider it the first sneak peek. I'm going to be showing a couple of sneak peek in the upcoming days and weeks. It's going to be releasing very soon, but my next course, the course that you're going to be seeing a lot of information about in the next couple of weeks, is going to be a ZBrush advanced course. I'm going to be working on a character, and I'm going to be showing you the whole process to create an amazing looking high poly character. So it's both an advanced ZBrush class, because we're going to be seeing some techniques and stuff that you can use within ZBrush, of course, but there's also going to be a character course. It's the best of both worlds. And what I'm super happy about is that this is a character of my own design. I did not like particularly design the character, but I came up with the story, the idea, the characteristics. He's a character from D&D or from one of my D&D campaigns, an NPC, and it's this guy right here. His name is Thyros, and he is a barbarian thiefling. So there's going to be anatomy information, how to do props, how to do armor, how to do cloth, how to do pores, how to do skin, how to do weapons, how to do a lot of different things. We're thinking about creating, some of you guys suggested this in the last couple of months, a sort of like series where this will be like kind of like the first series. It's going to be standalone. So if you just want to learn about high poly sculpting and character sculpting, this is going to be like it for it, or this is going to be complete for that. But later on, we're thinking about bringing this character into the whole game process. So let us know what you think in the comments. I'm really hyped. I've already started working on this guy. I'm not sure how much percentage I can say I'm through right now, but it's a really good amount, and the character is looking quite nice. So I think you guys are gonna enjoy the series. I've been having a lot of fun. It's very cool when you can work on a project that is both interesting and that you have some like personal attachment to, because you feel like extra inspired. So I'm sure that's gonna like show through the course as well. And finally, I just want to let you guys, or remind you guys, that we do have all of our courses available through Skillshare. And well, you guys know the drill. Here's the promo. Hey guys, Abraham here. I just wanted to remind you guys that we upload all of our courses to Skillshare. Skillshare is this amazing site where you can access a ton of different content to learn, improve, and grow as an artist. We have all of our courses available to watch and learn from right now in Skillshare. You can check the description down here, and Skillshare is offering 1 free month trial to their premium membership. With this membership, you're going to be able to access all of our courses and watch and learn all of the amazing things that we cover with all of the softwares. So, what are you waiting for? Check Skillshare down here below. There we go. Another one extra announcement that I want to do before we jump onto the Nanite thing. I just want to let you guys know that we still have our weapon contest running. Like, you are invited to participate by designing a weapon of your choice, of your design, and creating it in 3D. You can use Blender, Maya, ZBrush, whatever you want. I've been doing a couple of videos about that. I'll continue with that as well. And we are going to be announcing the prizes this week, as well as the more information about the submission process. The contest is open all the way until the end of the month, so there's still 3 weeks at the time of this recording, 3 more weeks to work on this thing. Halloween is also approaching, so we'll probably do something fun for that as we did last year. And yeah, let's now jump onto Nanite. So at the beginning of this year, Unreal Engine released Unreal Engine 5. A couple of days ago, actually, they released Unreal Engine 5.1. I still haven't had the chance to go through all of like the patch notes or the release notes to see if there's. I heard there's some major things coming, but it just builds upon Unreal Engine 5, right? And one of the big things about Unreal Engine 5 is a Nanite. Now, Nanite is a way in which they process geometries now so that you can have pretty much infinite amount of polygons. Of course, it's not infinite, but you can have trillions of polygons on your screen, and it's perfectly fine. I'm going to show you at the end of this video how to do it, or not even at the end. Like in just a couple of minutes, I'll show you how to bring this piece right here with almost 1 million points. Which you guys remember that if we have this amount of points, we double that number, and that's the amount of polygons. So this rock formation that we have right here, it's about 1.5 million polygons. And then I'm going to be able to bring it into Unreal and just like walk around it. I can have 10, 20, 100 different like duplicates of this stone right here. And it's going to be perfectly fine. So how does this work? Well, the way Nanite works is they use a very similar process to decimation. So it's like a real-time decimation process. And for those of you that are a little bit unaware about decimation, we know that right now we're working on Dynamesh. So we have all of these little squares right here. And if I were to go to C plugin, Decimation Master, I can decimate this all the way to, let's say, 75k points, which is about 150,000 triangles, which is 10 times less than what we have right now. And if I do that, what's going to happen here is ZBrush is going to create a lot of triangles on the mesh. And we're going to have more triangles where there's more details and less triangles where we have less details. But as you can see, it's virtually like impossible to distinguish which one is the decimated and which one is the real. This is decimated and this is the full resolution. And as you can see, like visually, it's pretty much the exact same thing, right? The problem with the decimated one is, as you can see, it's made out of a lot of triangles, and it will be a nightmare, a complete nightmare to convert this into UVs and stuff like that. So what we normally do in the game process is we would create a low poly version of this rocks and then bake the information and then bring it into Unreal or Unity or any engine with a very low poly count, right? Well, again, Nanite allows us to do that decimation process that you saw in real time. So the closer you get, the smaller the triangles are going to become because they're occupying more space on the screen and you're going to see all of the detail. And the farther away they are, it's going to kind of like decimate it so it's only like very few triangles because you're not seeing as much. And it does this automatically, and it does this in a super fast way. You do need, of course, I would say relatively powerful processor or graphics card to do this. So I'm not sure if like a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox can do it right now. I've seen some demos where it can, but with the years and with technology increasing, that's going to be more and more interesting, right? It's going to give us a better result. So the problem with this ones, I could literally just grab these stones right now, export them, like literally go here to export, save them as rock formations, as an FBX is usually the best solution, and bring it into Unreal. I can do that. But if I do that, one of the main things I'm going to be losing is the colors, the textures, and that's one of the main things that I had questions when I first heard about Nanite. And there's two main processes to do this thing. Give me just 1 second. Yeah, so there's two main ways to do this. The first of them is the one I'm going to show you, and the second one is a more traditional approach. So the traditional approach would be, if I know that I'm going to be sculpting, let's say, a log, right, like a tree trunk or something, I would start with a very clean subdivided mesh with proper UVs. And then you would just sculpt whatever you need to do, and then redo the UVs with a clean mesh, right? Because you have the low poly, the high poly, and just export the high poly with the UVs that you inherit from the low poly. That would be the traditional way to do it. And before Dynamesh existed, that's actually how we did it. Like when I first learned ZBrush 10 years ago, 11 years ago, that's how you do it. You would need to create a base mesh on Maya, and then you brought it into ZBrush, just subdivided a couple of times, and then you exported back the low poly once the forms were changed, right? So let's say we're doing like let me show you here. Projects. Let's say we're doing like a statue, right? Like a dog statue. Actually, I don't want to change that. Let's go to tools. What do we have here? There we go. That's dog. So let's say I'm doing a dog statue, right? What I would do is I would like create this low poly mesh, which I believe actually has UVs. Yes, we do have UVs. No, we don't. Those are horrible UVs. But we would create UVs for this guy, and then I would subdivide this a couple times, and you can change the forms and everything and the silhouette and create like a monster, like a whatever statue you want. And then when you export this new low poly, this is what you would export. And that way you would have like a proper UVs and everything. So it's a whole process. It's a really clean process, but it's not like as efficient, especially for things like this, like stones, which you really don't care that much about UVs. So what's the process that I'm going to be showing you? It's the following. We are going to be going to C plugin, and we are going to be using this one. We're going to be using this high poly as is. And we're even going to bring it into Substance Painter if we need to. And the way this works is very easy. Just go C plugin, and we're going to go UV master. We're going to hit unwrap, no symmetry, and we do want to keep the poly groups. And we're going to see unwrap. The thing is, the way this works is you are going to be using a very similar technique to what they do with photogrammetry. We're going to create very ugly looking UVs, but we don't care about the UVs because we can solve everything in textures. So as long as the textures look good, it doesn't really matter that the UVs suck. And I know this sounds really bad, especially for those of you that are just starting your 3D journey. Again, remember, this only applies to this specific method when using Nanite. If you're going to be using another engine where Nanite's not available, you might not be able to do this or follow these specific steps. Also, Nanite does not work for characters. So if you're doing a character that's going to be emoting and moving the face or mad human, stuff like that, this does not work because Nanite does not work with meshes that deform. The guys at Unreal were very creative on the demo, and they managed to create this amazing looking golem. It's like a giant construct that like attacks and interacts with the character. But the way they resolved that is they actually rigged that character inside of Unreal, and all of the pieces from that golem are made out of solid objects, so they don't deform. They just move, rotate, and transform parented to a rig, which you could do. Nanite works with that specific approach. But if you're going to be doing a character where things and vertices have weight attached to it, then it doesn't work, because since Nanite recalculates things the farther away or the closer you are, it will be very difficult to like recalculate the weight at lifetime, right, or at runtime. I don't doubt that that's something that we might have in the future once again technology increases and we get better results. But yeah, so I'm gonna pause this real quick, guys. As you can see, it's definitely taking a little bit longer than usual because it's 1.5 million polygons. It's a lot of points, but it should give me some UVs for this particular stone right here. So I'm gonna stop it right now, and I'll see you back in just a second. Very well, so it took about 2 or 3 minutes after I paused the video to finish the unwrapping, and the way to check if this worked or not is by going here to the UV map, and you can hit Morph UV, and you should see these flat surfaces right here. Now, they look horrible, they will look horrible, and you might think this is not gonna work. And yes, it's not the best one. Like for instance, these two guys that look very round, I don't love the way that the UV morph, but they're smallish stones, so I think we can get away with it. Now, now that we have this, we can actually export. So I'm gonna go here to export, and we're gonna export this as an FBX. Now, here's the main, let's call this rocks high. Here's the problem. If we export this and your computer is not super strong, mine is, I would say, quite strong, but I've seen like stronger computers. A client that I worked with recently, they're working with massive machines. They're just incredible. But if you have a, let's say, mid-range computer or even like a low-end computer, you might struggle to bring this into Substance. Substance is not like properly programmed to handle this amount of geometries. So what we need to do is we do need to decimate this so that what the textures we can create them with a low poly version of this thing without sacrificing the high poly that we have. How do we do that? Very easily. We're gonna go to C plugin, and we're gonna go to Decimation Master, and we're gonna decimate it, I would say, to about 75K. I think that's a good number, but very important, we're gonna select keep UVs. It's the most important thing. We need to make sure that we keep UVs, and another one that I would definitely keep is this one, freeze borders, so that the silhouette does not change. So freeze borders, keep UVs, and we decimate this to 75K. So what's gonna happen now is it's gonna go through the process where it knows where to place triangles and stuff, and it's gonna give us a really nice like decimated piece. There we go, 75K. And again, if we go to UVs and we morph the UVs, you're gonna see that it's the exact same UVs that we have. So I know that whatever I paint on top of this thing right here will perfectly go onto the other one, right? Because they're the same UVs. So we export this, and we're gonna export them as high. So let's go projects 21. I know this is from last year, but I have everything here. Rock formation, there we go. So this is gonna be rock low. And some of you might be like, this looks like a very traditional high poly, low poly approach. And for texturing purposes, yes. And that's again, because unless we were to texture things here and then create the maps in Photoshop or anything, it's probably the easiest one. So I'm just gonna throw in a very, very quick texture on this, guys, and then we'll jump onto Unreal. Here's where we're gonna have another fork. Remember when I was talking earlier, like you have two options. You do this thing where you go, what the hell is this? Oh, was there an update? Interesting. I need to check that out. I haven't seen. So you choose whether you start with a clean object, you subdivide it high, and then you just keep the height subdivision with the proper UVs, and you go into Nanite, or you do decimation, and we do the process that I'm showing you. Well, independently of which ones of those two you choose, once you texture, certain objects are going to be textures with like a 4K map or like a 2K map, and that's perfectly fine. But imagine we had like a mountain, like a huge mountain. You can't have like a 16K or like the 32K. We're going to have to use a different process. So let me know in the comments if you want to know how to do those processes, because I can of course show it to you, but it's going to take me another video to do so. So let's jump right here into our assets folder. Let's go to our rock formation. There we go. And I'm going to select the low poly, of course, or the low version, 4K. We're going to hit OK. And as you can see, I was able to load it with, I wouldn't say without any issue, right? It's heavy. It's definitely heavy. If I were to go into wireframe mode, we're definitely going to see a heavy piece, but it should work just fine. Now, we do want to capture all of the details that we had before, so that the textures and everything work as nicely as possible. So we need to do a bake. I'm going to go here, bake mesh maps. We're going to select 4K, and we're going to bake using the rocks high. Hit open, and we're just going to bake. Technically, since the things are very close to each other, as you can see, the bake is working perfectly fine. Yes, there's a seam line right there, but again, when talking about like the processes and everything, it should work. You can see the distortion on the bottom rocks right there, on this part right here. But even with that, we can still get a nice result. Perfect. So now we have the bake result here. I'm just gonna throw in a very simple texture because I want to jump into what's the word, Unreal, to show you the final process. And here's very simple. I'm gonna go for like this concrete. And the first thing I'm gonna notice is this thing right here, right? Where the stretchiness of the element's gonna like affect the way the rock looks. This is where we need to know a little bit about substance, and I recommend you check both the substance courses. We have a basic and advanced substance course on the Skillshare link down here that you can use to learn. And we can change this to triplanar projection, and that's gonna blend in the effects. And as you can see, yes, we're gonna have less quality. That's due, again, it's due to the way the UVs are. If we were to fix those would look a little bit better. But they will definitely solve things a little bit. And we can definitely change here the tiling. Let's go for like 3 tiling, which is gonna be make the texture a lot smaller, and that way we're gonna have a really high result, especially on like this stone right here on this one. There we go. Now let's throw in just some like a couple of things here. For instance, I do think I have like a moss. Yes, so I'm gonna use a moss layer, which looks really nice. I'm again gonna change this to triplanar projection so that we get an even distribution pretty much everywhere. And I'm gonna use a generator or a black mask. I'm gonna use a generator, and I'm gonna use a light generator. Well, actually, first I'm gonna use a dirt generator because I want the moss to be on the dirt. I'm gonna invert this. Actually, no. Let's change this generator to a light generator first. So the light generator is pretty cool because it creates this effect where it's like a light shining on top of the object, and I can change the glossiness here, highlight level. See, so it looks like moss is actually there's another one that I like for this particular case, which I think is the position. There we go. So with the position, as you can see, we can position this on top. There's some like smart masks. I'm actually gonna use one of those. This one, moss from top. There we go. That one's probably gonna work even better. There we go. Perfect. So as you can see, we got like moss on all of the top parts. And at any point, I can just go here, of course, with my paint layer, grab a a like damaged brush, such as like dirt spots. Let me grab my Wacom tablet here. Maybe something a little bit harsher, like this dirt splash. Maybe not as like this dirt. There we go. And just if I want a little bit more moss and a couple of these rocks, I can definitely add it. So this is a 4K texture, which again, it's not super common in a lot of things because they're really expensive on performance. Like not everything on the game can be 4 texture or 4K texture. There we go. And now I definitely want to darken the like all of the carvings that I did, as well as like the shadows here. So I'm gonna go for like I think there's like a moth. It's not moth, like still like, oh, there we go. I have that. This is uneven patch. There we go. That one looks cool. I'm gonna have it on top. I'm definitely gonna increase the tiling to like a 3. Change the projection to tray planar as well to get the perfect, like, or the best effect. Black mask, right click, and we're gonna add a generator. It is gonna be a dirt generator, so it goes into the crevices. And then I'm gonna make this an overlay so that it darkens everything. Look at that. So now we do have the moss. I think I'm gonna bring this underneath the moss, to be honest, so the moss grows on top. I don't know, kind of looks okay on the upper side. Maybe just like decrease the intensity there a little bit. And there we go. We have this that looks interesting. I usually like to add just a little bit of variation. The concrete that we added at first, I mean, it looks good, but it's not perfect, right? So I'm gonna go for like a rust. I love using rust for this sort of like color variation. I'm gonna add a black mask. I'm gonna add a fill layer, and I'm just gonna go for like clouds, like a clouds 3, for instance. I'm gonna bring this down. I'm gonna increase the on the dirt, or on the fill, sorry, here. I'm gonna increase the balance, so we have a little bit more rust, and I'm gonna increase the contrast as well. And then we can also change this to not like an overlay. I'm gonna go up here so that this material only affects the color, and then we can play around with the colors there. Of course, this is like brown, so let's go to like this deep blues or like purples. And that's gonna change the texture of the stone, as you can see right there, because instead of having like this plain stone, there's gonna be like dark spots and light spots, and it just helps. And finally, let's just throw in a like a metal edgeware for some parts of the stone as well. So I'm gonna look again for concrete, and there's one called concrete clean. This one right here. I'm gonna have this on top of this one, but below the rust and everything. Right click, black mask, right click, generator, click. And let's add a metal edgeware. There we go. For this one, I do want to actually look quite nice, so I'm gonna leave it like that. I'm just gonna change this to a linear dodge and lower this so it's not as intense. And there we go. So this is a rock formation that you might find in the game. Again, it has some carvings. We could add like emissive and stuff to the carvings, but I think this looks quite nice. So now what we need to do is we need to export things, right? So I'm going to export the textures, and let's export this on the same sort of like rock formation folder. There we go. I'm going to export this for Unreal Engine 4, this Unreal Engine 4 packed, and I'm going to hit export. They're going to be exported at 4K, as you can see right there, and we're ready to jump into Unreal. This was just a quick texturing process. You guys have been holding here for 23 minutes, so thank you very much for being with me. I'm actually really tired right now. It's 10 p.m. on a Sunday at the time of this is recording, and the House of the Dragon just launched, so I want to go with my wife and watch the episode. But I also want to give you guys something. I was gone for the whole weekend as well. I've been trying to spend the weekends with my family this last couple of months. Unfortunately, I got so like consumed by the work earlier this year that I neglected my family a little bit, not in a bad way, right? But I was working so much, and it was also affecting a little bit of my health. So I think it's always a healthy thing to be able to to balance things. So that's why I'm recording at this time, because I didn't have time for the weekend. Where do I want to go? There we go. NT Imaginarium. So, sorry about that little rant. It's not a rant. I just want to make sure you guys are a little bit aware of what's going on behind the scenes. Trying to be a teacher, record videos, do tutorials, and manage a small studio. It's definitely a time-consuming endeavor. Is that the proper word? I think so. So file. Let's save this one. We don't need it anymore. I'm just gonna save it here on the rock formation folder. There we go. Let's call this rock formation. And as you guys know, we can spend a lot of time working on all of these things. And the more time we spend on something, the nicer it's gonna look and everything. So I'm gonna go to maps. I'm actually gonna create a new map. So I'm gonna say file, new level. And I'm gonna create a basic level. I'm gonna hit create. And this basic level has a couple of light setups and stuff that we can use. It's already using Lumen, which is the global illumination thing. And the way this works is actually, I would say, rather simple. I'm gonna create a new folder here called rock formation. And inside this one, I'm gonna import something to this specific folder. So right click, import, and we're gonna select the high poly. And here's where the magic happens. When I import, I need to make sure that I select this option right here that says build nanite. That's gonna, what? Import fail? That's really weird. Okay, let me first save this. Maybe it was like holding something here. But yeah, technically it's just, we just need to import that. Let's try again. Import. Rocks high. Open. Nanite. There we go. Import. Fail to import. That's really weird. Okay, it could be this. Mesh is composed of polygons other than triangles, which is really weird. I think I know what could happen here. So let's go to this one before the triangulation, which is this one right here. Let's morph UVs. There we go. So it's this one right here. So sometimes we get like weird islands. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select the stones and get them right there. Oh. No, see, we don't have any islands. Sometimes there's like floating polygon islands on this thing. I can also go to geometry, and we're gonna do a weld points to make sure that all of the points are welded. And we can also do a close holes to make sure there's no holes on the object. Let's try this again. It should still have the same UVs and everything. It's really weird that we didn't get the error before. Let's export here. Yeah. Let's go back to this one. Let me close this one now that it's been saved. Because otherwise we would be back to the traditional like low poly, high poly stuff, right? So that's why it's important that we try to make this work. Okay, import. It's really weird. Really weird. Okay, so there's a problem here on the mesh. Oh, it's actually writing. My bad. It hadn't finished drawing. Let me pause real quick. Okay, it is exported. Let's try again. Build nanite import. There we go. So now it's working. So it was probably like a hole that was not closed, or a topology was not fixed or merged. Now this process will take a little longer because it's doing the nanite thing. I'm gonna pause real quick and I'll show you how it looks after it's done. Very well, so that's now done. It took about, I would say, like a minute or two. It wasn't that long. And as you can see, it says here that we have our rocks high. You can see here, if you see the description, it's gonna say that it only has 15,000 triangles. However, if you go all the way down to the description, you're gonna see that it says that it has 1.5 million nanite triangles, which is important. So how does this work? We just bring this into the scene. It's gonna be really small. I was expecting this to happen because the scale in ZBrush is sometimes not the scale here in Unreal. You can see it's really tiny. So let's bring this to like 100 or like even like 1,000. 1,000, 1,000, and 1,000. There we go. So that's a little bit closer to what I would expect for this rock formation. And as you can see that thing? That's really interesting. You can see the outline right there. As it goes through the stones, it pretty much erases the nanite. Like, we're not seeing it over there, but if we move down here, we're gonna see it. So it's interesting because the way Nanite works is only what the screen sees, only what you're like actively seeing. And that's like, I don't even know how that works. I just know that that's like magic and it works amazingly. So there we go. And again, the cool thing is I can like literally play this and I can approach the stone and you can see every single detail on the stone. It's there. It's sculpted. It's like a real geometry. The hitbox right now, as you can see, it's not like working exactly as intended, but the stone is right there. And as I mentioned before, we can actually duplicate this multiple times. Like if we were to create like a labyrinth or something, we can modify and create this or move this multiple times. And look at this. I'm running 60 FPS, no problems at all. If each one of this is 1.5 million polygons, that means that right now we're looking at 6 million polygons. And I've done this test before, so I know that it can be done and that my computer can handle it. I can duplicate this. That's 12 million polygons. Okay. And then if we grab all of this guys again and we duplicate again, that's 24 million polygons. And then we multiply or modify this again, even with overlaps and stuff. I don't care. And that's what, like 36 million polygons? 36 million polygons on screen right now. And as you can see, it runs exactly the same as I did before. Like there's no real hidden performance, and you can see how amazing all of this looks. Now let's just plug in the textures so that we can have an amazing piece right now. I'm gonna open my file explorer real quick. And here's the interesting thing. Do we need the normal map? No, we don't, because the normal map bakes down the high poly details into the low poly details. Will we get anything if we do? It will be like an extra crunch on the elements. You could definitely add it if you want to, but I'm going to show you that you don't actually need this. All of the other ones we do need so that we get the proper like a shading. Very important for the occlusion roughness metallic. Remember that we need to deactivate the sRGB. I wish this was like automatic, to be honest, like did it detect it that that's the way it works, but anyway, just bring these two guys in here. This is the color, goes right there. And this is the ambient occlusion, which is really good because it's going to give us an extra shading effect right there. The roughness, we don't really have a metallic, but it's a good idea to just connect it. And we just hit save. And since this rocks_1 is already assigned to the stone, it's automatically going to apply it to all of the rock formations that we have on the level. And look at this. Amazing looking texture, 4K texture. Okay, there's a little bit of an error right there. I'm not sure what that is, to be honest. I didn't see that on the what's the word, on the textures. Not sure if this is like a nanite setting or something. There's a little bit of an issue here. These are the UVs, remember, like these are the weird UVs that we had. So maybe here's where we're gonna suffer a little bit of the consequences for having bad UVs. But you can see all of the other parts where things are looking good. It's not there. So yeah, there we go, guys. This is how we would create a nanite piece, like an actual functional nanite piece. Now, of course, if I were to go here to the object, it's very, very small. So we would need to make this bigger to create proper, what's the word? Proper, like a collision boxes so that we could like step on them and stuff. But nanite, I'm telling you guys, nanite is definitely gonna revolutionize the world. It's just an amazing way to create like really intricate things without having to worry about the what's the word? The different kinds of polygon limitations that we used to have. And if we add that up with lumen, like look at this. Let's get rid of the rotation so we can go for the sort of like golden hour effect. I mean, it's just beautiful, right? So imagine a game that's like constantly changing like the light time of day and stuff. We're gonna be able to have like dynamic light that can give us a really nice, like super interesting effect. I love this golden hour effect. So yeah, Unreal Engine, guys, I'm telling you, it's gonna be the future for a lot of our 3D work. It's already there, like they're using it for big productions. So if you haven't learned anything about 3D with Unreal Engine, make sure to check the courses down here as well, because one of our really top instructors is also doing a lot of like Unreal Engine like stuff. So it's really, really good, and I strongly recommend it. And that's it, guys. We'll continue with the weapon. We'll continue. I want to do something cool with the mask. And let me know what else you guys want me to explore. There's a couple of extra ideas I have here and there. But that's it for now. Have a great day. Let me know how you feel in the comments. How are you, by the way, as well? You always hear about me, but how are you guys doing? And well, that's it. Like, share, subscribe. I'll see you back on the next one. Bye bye.